you have the potential to have global impact, but you likely never will because you're highly service oriented, demotivated by money. If you're meant to have global impact and you're afraid of money or you're demotivated by money, you will push money away. And you think about people like Oprah, who has global impact. She's made a lot of money in her day. Even Mother Teresa. Money had to pass through her hands in order for her to feed as many orphans as she fed. She had to buy the food. It took us 3 years to get to the $1 million mark. In the month of November 2017, we ended up making more in that month than we had earned the entire year of 2016. And so my husband was the one who was like, Toyin, what's going on? What did you do? Did you start a new business? Like, what? So like to your question of how we ended up number 74 on the fastest growing companies in Canada, it's really been two things. Number one.
Welcome to Visionary Voices, a podcast where we connect with forward-thinking entrepreneurs to learn from their stories. I'm your host, Ida, and today we are joined by Toyin Crandell. She is the host of Millionaire Money Podcast, a best-selling author, a financial mentor, an international speaker, and the founder of Money Mindset Shift. Toyin, people reach out to you to help them with their mindset shift. They reach out to you to neuroscience-based stuff to help them unlock something financially in order to do better with their companies. But not only that, your resume is impressive. Your company made it to Canada's fastest growing companies list, and you're actually number 74 on the list.
That's right. We're number 74.
A verified 592% growth.
Yes.
Girl, you got to tell me the story. Everything. Welcome to the podcast. Thank you for being here. I want to hear everything.
She's
please.
Like, let's go right in. Thank you so much for having me. It is absolutely an honor to be on the Visionary Voices podcast. I'm excited for the conversation we're going to have. And it has been a wild journey, getting to the 74th fastest growing company in Canada. Knowing that, 7 years ago, I was homeless. I did not have food to buy for my family. Didn't have money to buy food for my family. And literally, I was just trying to survive, much less run a company that is doing multiple millions a year and is number 74 in the country. So I agree. It's been an incredible journey over the last 7 years.
I don't even know what to ask you first. First up, I'm going to say congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And I watched a lot of your videos on YouTube, and I watched the one that's really, really long, which is you talking about how you went from homeless to 11 streams of income. And that is one direction we could go. But before we even get into that side, I want you to tell me the story about the business side of things. How did it happen?
How did the business get to where it is?
Yeah.
So I can't talk about the business without talking about my brain and myself, because I'm the CEO of the business and we coach a lot of business owners. And one of the things I always tell business owners is you are the bottleneck in your company. So the level at which you are allowing yourself to think, to play, will determine where your business can play at as well. So when I started this journey back in December 2016, I had actually gone into business mid 2016, and by December, I pretty much sucked. Really, really sucked at business.
Mm-hmm.
I was extremely service oriented. I love people. I love serving, but I just was not good at business. And because I didn't really think it was important. I didn't care to be good at business because I thought I'm a good person. I do good work, and people that I do work with love what I do. Who cares about the marketing, invoicing, all the other things that go with business?
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't until December 2016 when I found out that my husband had been eating chocolates for dinner so that I could eat the rest of our food, because I was nursing our 6-month-old baby girl at that point. That was kind of like my wake-up call, even for the business. That was my wake-up call of doing a business in lackadaisical attitude, where it's just, God will take care of us and we'll just be fine. We'll just figure it out. It'll be okay. Like in that moment where my husband was like, Toyin, we've run out of food.
Yeah.
That was where I was like, oh, I need to learn how to run a business well, because if this is what our family is going to be using for our family sustenance, because my husband was a full-time student. He had gone back to school at that time, and I was the one working. I was like,
That's
if this is what
2016?
this is 2016.
Okay.
If this is what's up, then I better get it together, because this baby girl in my hands right now is not going to drink milk forever. I need to be able to buy food for her. And so that was my wake up call. So the summary of the story is I started to learn strategy around business. I got a little bit better with things. And I remember February 2017, I had my first $7,000 month, as a business.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, this is incredible. Like, I will never be poor again. This is amazing.
Yeah.
But the problem was, after having the $7,000 in a month, I would do the same amount of work, same amount of effort, same amount of everything. And for some reason, $0 would come in. Zero, 500, zero. So until the money finished and the business was back in struggle, then we had another $5,000 month. Okay. And I'm doing the same amount of work, and it was just this huge feast and famine roller coaster. And by October 2017, we were back at the bottom. I had to email friends and family asking them for money to help us pay our rent, pay our bills that month. And I just remember being so pissed off. Like, I was pissed off. I was just mad. At the whole situation.
Okay.
The whole thing. Like, I was just like, how can I have, in the same year, I earned $7,000 in a month in my business. And here I am not earning so much that I need to now ask for help again, as if I'm in ministry, as if I'm a missionary when I'm in business.
Yeah.
And it just, so I get mad at the situation, and God just happened to have it where in that season, in that month, I was in a leadership development program. And in this program, they had me do a personality assessment. And this personality assessment, the guy, he had done personality assessments for like CEOs and executives for Fortune 500 companies. So he's doing one on me, and he's talking to me, and he's like, so Toyin, your IP, blah, blah, blah. It's all amazing. Like, he's like, you're very unique. And I'm like, okay, dude, everybody is unique. Because he just kept saying it, you're very unique. Yeah. I'm like, you're a personality assessment guy. Like, everybody has a different personality. And then he said a phrase that stopped me in my tracks. He said, Toyin, I don't think you understand. With your balance of UI, EI, whatever, you have the ability, the potential to have global impact, but you likely never will because of two things. And now this guy's not a coach. He's not trying to sell me anything. He's just talking, and he said it like it was Tuesday. You likely can have global impact, but you likely never will because of two things. And I'm like, sir, what? And now I'm paying attention.
Yeah, what two things?
What are the two things?
Yeah.
And he goes, well, number one, you're highly service oriented. And I was like, oh, absolutely I am. Like, I care about people. He goes, you've probably worked in social work. I said, yes, I have. For 9 years, I worked at a women's shelter. I was the assistant director for people, 27 shelters for men coming out of addiction. Like, I used to run a homeless ministry. Like, I've done a lot of social work. And he goes, there's nothing wrong with being service oriented. I'm like, yeah, it better not be, And he goes, the problem is you're also demotivated by money. Ooh. Now, I've never heard anyone use that phrase in my life. And so I'm Christian. I believe in God. And in this moment, he tells me you're demotivated by money. And I felt God speak to me, like I'm not even listening to this guy anymore. Yeah. And God says to me, Toyin, you're not just demotivated by money, you're afraid of money. And God started in that moment to show me how every time I would start to have success in the business, I'd start to build some momentum. I would all of a sudden feel, and if you're listening to the podcast audio, I'm doing those quote air quotes, but I would feel God say, shut it down. So any successful thing in the business, I would start shutting it down. And I thought it was God keeping me safe from getting too big. Whereas in that moment, I realized it was my fear speaking and causing me to not get where God was trying to send me. And so God literally tells me in that moment that, Toyin, you've been so afraid of making money higher than me in your values, because God is my number one value. He said, you're so afraid of putting money above me that you've put money above me. Because in this moment, I've now called you to business. And if you're going to run a business, you got to be able to manage money. You got to be willing to make money. And so if you're afraid of money and it's not allowing you to run a business, your fear of money is now above the thing that I've called you to do. My mind was like blowing in every direction.
Wow.
This guy hasn't stopped talking. And this guy starts highlighting to me why he said what he said. And he was just very logical. Like, he was like, if you're called to have, like, he didn't say called. He doesn't use that word. He said something like, if you're meant to have global impact and you're afraid of money or you're demotivated by money, you will push money away. And you think about people like Oprah, who has global impact. She's made a lot of money in her day. And then he goes, even Mother Teresa, right?
Yeah.
Money had to pass through her hands in order for her to feed as many orphans as she fed. She had to buy the food.
Yeah.
And so it was this, like, in this moment, I'm mad. I just had to send this email asking for financial help. I'm finding out that I'm afraid of money. So I make a decision while I'm just like on the call with this dude. I hang up the phone and I just said, you know what? If money has been such a source of challenge for me in that it's even impacted my family, I'm going to be a millionaire in a year. I'm going to show money that money's got nothing on me. I'm not afraid of it. Let's go. Oh, I'm scared. When something challenges you, you're like, oh, you want to tell me I'm afraid of this? Let's go. So that's literally, I was like, I'm going to be a millionaire in a year. Let's figure this thing out. We didn't do it in a year. It took us 3 years to get to the $1 million mark. But I mean, where we started, it was pretty incredible.
This was 2018 when you had the conversation with a guy?
2017. So October 2017, I have this conversation. I decide I'm going to be a millionaire in a year. I forgot to tell you something. So that was October 2017. Okay. I create this process. I literally sat with myself and with God, and I was just like, God, what is really happening in my brain? I asked myself all these questions, did all these exercises to figure out what my limiting beliefs were about money and about having a successful business. And I identified them. I had a lot of funky beliefs. Like I thought it was like holy, because I came from this Christian ministry context, right? So I thought it was holy to be poor.
Yeah.
So how can you run a business and do well when the other part of your brain is going, if you have too much money, there's something wrong with you. Yeah. So there were so many limiting beliefs that I had. I identified them. I then asked God, how do I shift them? I shifted them. And in the month of November 2017, we ended up making more in that month than we had earned the entire year of 2016. And so my husband was the one who was like, Toyin, what's going on? What did you do? Did you start a new business? Like, what? And because I didn't notice it. He's like, we just earned more this month than all of last year. And last month we needed help for rent. And I told him, I'm like, babe, I'm not doing a new business. I didn't start anything different. The only thing that I know that I did in October was this thing with my brain. Like, I was like, I did this exercise where I was like, what's going on? Why am I afraid of money? That was the only thing that shifted. And so since then, my business started to multiply. Back then I was doing debt freedom coaching specifically, because I had known how to be debt-free. I'd helped a lot of people become debt-free. But one thing I always tell my clients is debt freedom is not financial freedom, because even though I was debt-free, I was still broke.
Right.
It's two very different things. And so we started to grow. And then I thought, what if I introduce this thing that I did in my brain to my clients?
Yeah.
And when I did that, their results went from, like, let's say 60% of our clients actually following through. Because one thing that used to frustrate me as a financial coach was we would give people strategy. It works. We know it works. It's like a personal trainer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you tell your person they want to lose weight, they want to get fit, and you're like, eat right, exercise.
Yes.
That's it. Eat right, exercise. But for some reason, even though everyone knows it, we don't do it. And that was what was happening with a lot of people in their finances. They know how to budget. They know how to spend below what they're earning. But in the moment, our habits kick us out of it. And so I started to deal with the brain habits of people and their money. Their results started to skyrocket. And they started, when they become financially free, when they become debt free, guess who they're going to tell? Their friends, their family members. Those guys come into our program, they come into our company, and we've just literally multiplied since then.
Oh my
That's
goodness.
how we ended up. So, like, to your question of how we ended up number 74 on the fastest growing companies in Canada, it's really been two things. Number one, our clients like spreading the word like crazy, because you can't hide financial transformation.
Yeah.
It's just so entrenched in your life. And then the second thing has been we just got very good at business. Very good.
So, Lord, okay. October of 2017
Yes.
to November of 2017, you
Yes.
not only doubled, like you exceeded what you had done in the entire
last year.
previous year. What was it that you did differently?
So because in October, I had identified my limiting beliefs about money and about success in business and shifted them, like really gotten on the other side of them where I wasn't thinking from those frames anymore. In the month of November, I showed up like a CEO in a business. I didn't show up apologetic about what I was doing. So for example, you know, if I'm marketing, let's say I'm doing Facebook lives and I would do them consistently.
Mhm.
But in the past, when I do a Facebook live, I would hesitate to put a call to action. Or if I'm doing a sales conversation, I would be like, oh, you know, work with us if you want to work with us. If you don't want, it's okay. You know, just hesitating and not owning what God had given me to do and the results that we were getting for our people. And I think it was just, I changed. And because I became more confident, more aware, more willing to succeed, because that's the other thing is if you're afraid of success, you'll do everything. And then when it's time for you to actually get the fruit of your labor, you'll sabotage yourself. And we see this so much with a lot of the people we work with, where they can be very hardworking. They will build an entire business funnel, an entire business system. And the day they're supposed to turn it on, all of a sudden they have a cold, their body shuts down, they can't function that time. It's like something will always happen, or that's when they need to do laundry, clean the office, you know, travel, go on vacation. I remember one of our clients, we helped her scale her business. She had been wanting to scale for a very long time. Mm-hmm. And she came to work with us and she had been averaging about 30,000 for the month in her business. We helped her to do 65,000 in a week. And right after, and people were like rushing into her business. Yeah. And in the middle of this rush into her business, I remember she was like, hey, Toyin, so I'm going to take a vacation. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? And she's like, there's just so many people coming in. I'm just going to take a vacation and I'll come back. And I literally said, sis, this is sabotage in the textbook form. Right. Because if you spend years building for a moment, many of us in that moment, something comes up that causes us to think, I don't deserve this. It's too much for me. I can't handle this level of success. And we start wanting to shy back. Thankfully for her, she had us in her corner so we could actually call it out. But for many business owners that are by themselves, they have those moments where they've worked and they've worked and they've worked and they get to the fruit. And that's when they literally will start to create drama in their marriage with their children just to have something else to do that's not the business that they already built and did the work for.
So how do you tell the difference between that self-sabotage and literally needing a break at that moment? Like, She could legitimately want vacation, but you could tell that this is not
This is
vacation.
sabotage.
This is sabotage. This is that limiting belief you're stopping yourself from yeah.
How do you tell the difference? I think the difference is told in what you've set up for yourself. So, for example, you can, as a business owner, you don't need permission to take a vacation.
Right.
That's just the truth. You can take a vacation any day of the year, anytime.
Yeah.
Nobody will question you, except for your clients. You got to make sure you take care of your clients.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But so if of all the weeks in the year, it's the week where you just did something that made everyone want to work with you, and it's that week you want to peace out on those people, that's sabotage. Why? Because even if you feel tired, you take one day off and you get break. You sleep, do whatever you got to do, which is exactly what I told her to do. Go rest, catch your breath because you've been talking to a lot of people, and then you show up. It's almost like, imagine this. This is like someone who's in the Olympics, and you spend 4 years prepping for the Olympics. And this is like for her, this is the biggest month, biggest week ever in her business. And for you to now say, I prepped for the Olympics, the torch just got lit. Peace out, y'all. I'm tired. Like, I've done so much prep. To this point, I need a break. So how about this? I'm gonna come back 2 weeks from now, and then we can do something. I'll come and I'll run at that point. It's like, no, as a business owner, we have to be aware of times and seasons. And you need to know, like, one of my mentors is John Maxwell. I was honored to spend a few days with him and just a few people, 4 days last year. And one of the things he was talking to us about was how a lot of business owners will create momentum, but they don't know how to leverage the momentum they created. So, and that's what I used to do when I would sabotage myself. We do all this work to get all this momentum going for the business. And then right in that moment, we just leave it and we move on to the next thing. Yeah. And sometimes it's not vacation. It looks good because sometimes the next thing is another arm of the business. So you build all this momentum here, then you say, let me just drop that. I'll just start something new over here. And everyone around you will clap for you and be like, wow, look at you. You're so inventive. You're so innovative. You're so creative. But what's really happening is you keep sabotaging yourself by not finishing and actually getting the fruit from what you started in the first place. I love your questions because this is real. This woman is helping y'all get some real coaching out here, okay? Because ain't nobody asked me this level of, so how would they? Why is that? Like, I love these questions, Ida.
No, this is great. This is great. And one thing is because I actually took the time to listen to you and like, this is what she's about.
I can tell. Come on.
2018, you're still going. There is that limiting belief that was there because it didn't just go, unless like magically it just went and it didn't come back. But it didn't just go, right?
So the way that I explain it is this. So we have a process called the diamond effect process.
Yeah.
And it's a neuroscience-based process where we do work with your subconscious for it to go.
Right.
So it's not even like it's there and then you're just like kind of managing it. Oh my gosh. So just before jumping on this podcast, I did a Facebook Live with one of our clients. Mm-hmm. He just started working with us, himself and his wife. They run a business. They started working with us in 3 months ago, in October, November-ish. Mm-hmm. And in the conversation, and you see it in the live, I asked him, what were your limiting beliefs? Because everyone who works with me, that's the first layer is limiting belief. We shift it, then we get to strategy. So I said, what were your limiting beliefs 3 months ago that were holding back your business? And it genuinely took him 3 minutes to remember how his brain was viewing the world and operating 3 months ago. And when he finished thinking about it, he was like, this was so hard because I'm so much not that guy anymore. Like, He was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize how different I have become, but my business has become, because now their business has absolutely blown up, which is why they were like, can we share our story with some of your people?
Yeah.
And so what happened for me was I did this process. I shifted those limiting beliefs. Now, here's the catch, because I think this is what you may be asking. is you can shift those limiting beliefs and your business will, like, once you apply strategy. So it's not all limiting beliefs, it's limiting beliefs as well as strategy in your business. So like marketing, sales, client fulfillment, operations, those are things that we coach people on. But you shift the limiting beliefs, you apply the strategy, and then there's going to be new limiting beliefs for your new level.
Right.
What do I mean? This is the one that affects the 74th fastest growing company designation that we got. One thing I learned in scaling as fast as we have is that the limiting beliefs between we ain't making no money to 150,000 was what I had in the beginning. You know, I can't have more than enough money, otherwise I'm going to be pulled away from God, and he's my top value, you know, blah blah blah. Right. Those limiting beliefs. But then the limiting belief between 150,000 a year and 500,000 a year is also different. The limiting belief between 500,000 a year and 2 million a year is different. The limiting belief between 2 million a year and 10 million a year is different. You literally, for every level that your business is multiplying into, your brain has to do this process. So every single year, myself, all of my clients, well, the ones that will do it, most of them will do this program, Money Mindset Shift, over again once we know what the next level play is. So even for me, every year I take 7 days in the beginning of the year alone with God, and I will say, okay, what's the goal for this year? What are we going to do financially? What's the level of impact we're going to have? How many lives are we going to change? And then once I've designated all those things, then I sit with my brain. Right. And I'm like, okay, great. Now what are the limiting beliefs that come up when I look at this? And it's just so different every year for me, which I just think it's incredible the way that God has built our brain. But it's also incredible how our brains, like, there's so many layers to freedom. Because for me, running a business isn't just about making money. Running a business is seeing your level of potential, your level of like changing the way you're showing up in the world, changing the way that you think. Business is like the ultimate personal development process you could ever put yourself through, because it forces you to interface with the world, to interface with the market, to lead teams and learn leadership, and then to learn self-leadership. How do you lead yourself in the midst of everything that you got to get done? It's incredible.
Yeah, I agree with you. And as you're talking, there's a question that keeps coming to mind. So the person who had spoken to you in October 2017 had said two things about you. That first thing is you are service oriented, you're heart centered, and but that is your superpower, but that's also the thing that is going to stop you. And as you're saying all of that, I'm hearing the continued thread of service. Like, you have to ground yourself in, this is the impact I want to create. And so it's that's going to continue to put you in line, like, oh, so I need to make more to be able to get the impact that I want.
That's exactly right. Yes, exactly. So literally, because I went through this process of getting rid of these money blocks that were in my way. So one of my fears back then was, if I made more money, I wouldn't be about the people. I'd get distracted. Money could tempt you. It could change you. This is some of the fears that some people have. But what I've realized just in doing this thing and walking this out, if you have the right system, is money is simply an amplifier.
Right.
That's all it is.
Oh, yeah.
So who you will be is who you will be. If you secretly don't care about people, well, if you don't have any money, ain't nobody going to know about it. But when you get a lot of money, everybody's going to see it, right? But if you genuinely care about transforming lives, pouring into others, if you are genuinely a giver, and when you don't have money, nobody knows about it because you just don't have what you need to give.
Right.
But now you get money, all of a sudden people are going to know you're a giver. It's not because you changed, it's because money amplified. And
right.
so that was one of the things that really, really struck me, was like, even for my family, I love my family. We homeschool. We have 3 children. I love my husband. We have a beautiful family life, and we have always had that since even when we didn't have much money. And having more allows us the flexibility to spend more time together, to sit on the couch and just play board games all day. I could just say, hey, I'm taking a day off. I'm just going to sit on this couch with my family and we just going to play board games from morning until night. Like, it just amplifies who you already are.
So now that you're at a place where you literally don't need to work, you keep going. Why do you keep going?
Because I do need to work. And I'll say this. Because one thing so she's just asking questions that are like coaching questions. Questions for you guys. You better be taking notes, writing stuff on paper, okay? Right? This episode, you just put it on repeat for your own life, for your sake. So one of the things that we teach our students and our clients is people always talk about the goal of retirement.
Right.
And now one thing I'm going to say is this. I do work because I'm building our real estate. So we have multiple real estate properties, but I'm building our real estate stuff to a certain level. So if I stopped working today, yeah, okay, we could survive, but it's not at the level that I would want to be.
Toyin, wait, survive is not the word. Survive is not the word. Leave that for other people.
I mean, it's true. But I know this is not the level.
Right.
But when it comes to, what was it, retirement? So I always tell my people aim for retirement.
Right.
When I get to this age, whether it's 45, whether it's 65, when I get to this age, I will retire. Mm-hmm. One of the things I always say is, listen, the people who retire, they really retire. As in,
it's over.
They peace out to the whole world when you fully retire. Because we have this image in the West and in many countries that retirement looks like sitting on a beach, watching the waves, eating some candy, they're just like doing nothing. And that's when I will finally get rest. And the reason people think this way is because we're so overworked. So in our head, the dream is I'm doing nothing. But one thing that we train, so we work with career professionals and we work with business owners in two separate programs. But we train both career professionals and business owners to understand there is a type of work that energizes you. Right. And you have to find that work where, like for me, I love what I do. I genuinely do. Like I was talking to my sister, my youngest sister. She's 11 years younger than me. And like, she's killing it in her industry, Yale, Oxford, just traveling all over, doing all the things. And she was just like, Toyin, what is a dream day for you? And she's very thoughtful. So every conversation I have with her, like I slow down and I really think deeply with her. Mm-hmm. And I was like, what's a dream day for me? And so I shared like my family, we'd be playing board games because I love board games. Yeah. I'd walk out to the beach. I love water. I'd look at nature and I'd pour into people. So I'd probably either be speaking at an event or I'm coaching my people and I give like doing a podcast like this. Mm-hmm. And she was like, hold up. That's what you do now. And I was like, yep. Yeah, is what I like to do. That's my dream. If I wasn't doing these things, I would be ridiculously bored. And if we get too bored, we actually create drama for ourselves. So one of the things that is been studied is that people who have too much time on their hands, that's where you see, or they have so much money that they feel they don't need to apply themselves to a type of work that motivates them, is they actually are able to get into drugs and alcohol and really destructive things that they wouldn't have if they had something to busy themselves with. So I feel like in our world, and this is what our top vision in our company is, to have a world where your success is defined not just by your numbers and numerical wealth, but by the freedom that you have. So time freedom, financial freedom, and by your ability to impact other people. And like, if you can have that, I feel like people wouldn't have these visions of sitting on a beach doing nothing, absolutely nothing for 20 years as their retirement. It would be, I can do that right now. I can go for a week. I can go for a couple of weeks. Like we're doing a full month trip with my family this year. We can do these things and do the work that God has put us on the planet to do and feel fulfilled and rested in both.
That's beautiful.
I don't even know how we got here, but it was a good question. Whatever question it was a good one.
I asked you why you're still working when you don't need to,
Yes,
technically.
because I love it. I truly so much enjoy, and I enjoy the challenge of business. I do. It's funny to me because I never ever thought this would be my full-time occupation. I thought I would be ministry, like worship leading, doing Bible studies, touring for that, which I was. But one thing I love is that business genuinely causes you to think. And many people run business and don't think. They don't take the time to sit down and challenge their brain. And so that's why the business often stagnates and gets plateaus. But like I always have my own coaches that I go to. I coach other business owners. But more than anything, I will sit back and I will just sit with God and I just think. And out of this thinking place, we get ideas, and then the ideas will actually impact lives and transform people. And it's just, it's incredible the opportunity we have. And I want to say this because some of your people may be listening and going, yeah, but my business is a product-based business.
Yeah.
Because I've seen this where sometimes people who are product-based business owners feel like there's less of an impact element because it's not as service-based as something like coaching or consulting would be. And so for those of y'all who are listening, who are product-based businesses, what I would say to you is you do have impact because your product, like there's a heart with which you create it. There's a heart with which you not just put it together, but you market it. The language that you bring to your client, the way that you have your customer service. There's certain products that people connect with as part of their identity. You literally see people like Apple.
Yeah.
And some people are like, I am an iPhone person. I don't have an iPhone. And iPhone people will be offended that I don't have an iPhone. They will defend the iPhone like they are Steve Jobs himself. Why? Because there is a identity that's been curated to connect with this product and this series of products. And you're able to do that for your product so that your product is much more than just a thing that they use. It's a lifestyle. It's something, it just connects to them in a deeper way. And with thinking and marketing and language and sales, you're able to get that across to your client.
Whew. I'm watching the clock and I'm thinking of all the million questions I still want to ask you. Okay. Okay.
Like which one?
Which one should I ask that's gonna get her to? Okay. Did you have it as a goal to get on the fastest growing companies list?
Ooh, that's a good question. Was that a goal? So I didn't know it existed, first of all.
Okay.
That there was such a thing as the fastest growing companies. How did I find out? I think it was one of my clients was helping me with a project where because she was just like, okay, so my clients get mad at me.
Okay, why?
Because they say that, so we have a marketing system for our business where we get people who need our help. It's very consistent. We run ads. And so our marketing is really tight. And so I don't need to do podcasts and all this other stuff like awards and periphery things. So for years, I'm helping my clients scale their businesses. They're getting to millions of dollars when they never had been there before. Some of them already had millions when they came to us and they're multiplying. Some of them may not be at millions because they don't want millions, but they want their business to do a comfortable $300,000 a year. And they're like, this is like the sweet spot for me because I don't want a big team, all of that. And I've had so many clients be like, Toyin, you're not announcing yourself the way that you need to announce yourself. And there's so many people around that don't know that it's even possible to scale the way that you've helped me scale or the way that you scale and so on. And like we use systems. So like to leverage the systems that you have, we have these systems in-house that we train our people on. So they get like it kept coming up. Like why are you not out here? I remember I asked a vendor, we were doing an event I had a vendor help me put together our page, the website for that event. And so she was like looking through a bunch of our testimonials and talking to some clients. And she comes back to me mad, big mad. And she's just like, you've helped people take their business to millions of dollars. I'm even your Facebook friend. And I didn't know this is the level you play at.
Right.
And she's like, why on earth are you not talking? Because I see these other people that will do a quarter of what you've done, and they're loud, and you think that that's like the top of what's possible, and you're doing all this stuff secretly.
Yeah.
So after hearing all this from all these angles, I decided, so I had this client who I knew a bunch of like awards and stuff in Canada. And I was just like, okay, what are some of the things that are out there that I could apply for and just see? Because you have to apply to be the fastest on the list for the fastest growing company. And they're serious. Like, you got to give them your tax documents. This is not, so nobody can fudge numbers, right?
Yeah, right.
And so she just was like, I think one that you would easily qualify for is this top whatever list.
Yeah, top growing companies.
Not top whatever.
It's Canada's top growing companies,
top
guys.
fastest growing companies. They can look at me, whatever. The work that it took for all of us that are on that list, I better give us our credits, okay? But the fastest growing companies in Canada list. So I applied, and they were like, yep, you would qualify. And then I was just like, okay, here's all the information you need. But the exciting part, so I didn't know you can apply. It doesn't mean that you're going to be on the list, and it doesn't tell you what number you will be on the list.
Right.
So when I applied, I just kind of put it in, and I was like, okay, God, whatever happens, happens. And then I got the email that we got on the list. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is legit. This is legit.
Yeah.
And then we get the final email that was like, you're number 74. And I was like, OMG. Like, out of, I think they had like 425 on the list this year. And to be number 74, I was just like, thank you, God. Like, for me, on a real level, when I see where we started, like, you know, there's this song that's like, I don't even know who sang it, maybe Drake or somebody, that's like, started from the bottom, now we here, right? And it's like, I know what it feels like to put together a business with figuring everything out, you know, where you're the administrator, you're the service provider, you're the one running payroll, you're the one trying to figure everything out. And to be where we are today, where we have an amazing team of people that are doing the work with us, and that this company provides for their families in a stable and steady way in the middle of this crazy economy, to know that we that had to move 7 times in 7 months because we did not have enough money for first and last to get out of this moldy apartment system that they didn't want to take us out of. Like, we were so stuck. And today we are the landlords, and we have amazing homes for other people to live in the middle of a housing crisis. Like, to just see, like, going from barely 1 income to 11 streams of income, like, I'm just like, only God, only God, and some real work, like learning, doing the things that are uncomfortable. I find that a lot of business owners, we want to do the thing that's comfortable for us. So what's comfortable for you could be, if you're you run a baking business, you're comfortable baking. You know, you run a consulting business, you're comfortable consulting. But learning the part of business that you're not comfortable at, like, why am I sabotaging myself? What are the limiting beliefs that I've been running away from? What are the conversations that I need to have that I've not been having with myself? And then, where am I sabotaging myself, or what is the bottleneck in my business? And learning how to be a strategic, adaptable business owner, which is different from being a talented person in your industry.
Oh my God. Okay. And for most people in business, like you mentioned, they are actually the bottleneck in it. Look, I gotta go listen back to all of this, because this is actually a coaching session to me.
For me,
Because you know what? Look, I personally help people with accounting and taxes. I'm an accountant, but I also
There
talk
you
to people. It's
go.
like not too long ago, I was talking to this lady, and she's like, "Okay, I don't. What's happening?" I said, "You know what? I think I'm the bottleneck in my company because everything is
Mm,
here. So you're literally talking to
right.
me."
Ah, I love finance people. Hi.
So as you're talking, I wrote a note. As I wrote here that you were doing a disservice to the community by
Mm,
refusing to put yourself out there to be allowed to be like, this is possible. But since you embrace that, since your clients
yes.
pushed you to do it, now you're showing to
Yes.
other people what's actually possible by being that. Because you went from what homeless to multimillionaire to
Yeah.
showing other people how by showing other people how to do it.
Yes.
And I think as you were talking about that mental block that a lot of people have, and also coming from that Christian background, right? For a lot of
Yes.
people, it's like favorite quote: "The love of money is the root of all evil."
Is the but
Ugh.
people will say money is the root of all evil because that's what we like to shorten it into, even though that's not what it said.
Right, right. But it's because you love service. Service led to helping a lot of people, and helping a lot of people
That's
without
right.
the limitation led to the
That's
position
right.
that you're in right now.
Exactly. One last thing I'll just say, just because you mentioned that verse, because I think that that is a verse that trips a lot of people up.
Yeah,
And I talk about this in my book, Money Mindset Shift, which is
yeah.
on Amazon. I normally have it on my desk, but it's not here. Um,
I'll link it in the description.
one thing that I will say about that is people think that the love of money is only when you have a lot of it. But the truth is you can love money and not have a lot of it. And you can have a lot of it and not love it. Because the love of money is about putting your trust and your security in money. And so you have a lot of people where when there's less money, they don't have trust and security. They feel extremely stressed. They cannot sleep. It's everything they're thinking of. And then you have some people who have a lot of it and they don't think about it. But
Yeah,
you do have some people who have a lot of it and build their hope on it. And
yeah.
so just saying that the love of money is totally separate from what's actually in your bank account. So don't think that by keeping yourself poor, you're safe from the love of money. And don't think that if you scaled your income, all of a sudden you're gonna have the love of money. It doesn't go with the size of your bank account. It goes with where your heart is.
Oh, that's beautiful. One of the biggest takeaways from everything you said was where you realized that your fear of money had surpassed your love, not fear of money surpassing the love of God, but your fear of money was stopping you from doing what you needed to do until it's like you had put it above that, and that shift literally for you switched everything.
Exactly. Absolutely. Like changed my life that moment. Really changed my life.
Yeah. Oh my God, this is beautiful. Okay, I know you have a 3-day retreat coming up, and I want you to talk to our audience
Yes.
about that. If you wanted to promote that, please go ahead. I think it's going to be transformational for anyone listening right
Yes.
now.
Yes. So once a year, so normally we have an event that we did only reserve for our millionaire mastermind members. These are the members of a specific community where we take their businesses to millions of dollars and or they're already at millions and we help them multiply it.
Yeah.
And for like years, we do these retreats just for them. Last year was the first year I felt God say, open it up to anyone who wants to attend to just come in and learn at a level that these millionaires and multimillionaires learn at. So we opened it up. It was a full room. It was incredible. People were like, I have never, ever attended an event and an experience like this because you will not just come for pen and paper and writing down on paper because that's not how you transform and you change.
Mhm.
So anyway, we did it last year. It was incredible. We opened it up. We said we're going to do it again this year. I think we're only allowing 200 people in the room. And within the first month, just from the people from last year, we already have about 97 tickets sold, gone. And now we're
Repeat
like,
people.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. They're like, because when you know what you know, you're like, no, I ain't missing it. So already 97 of those tickets are done because those guys are like, we will come as long as this is public. Oh, one other thing that we do in this event is we do not dilute the information. So
Okay.
that was one of the specific directives that I had, was like from God, was just, a lot of people will do events, and the event is a pitch fest.
Yes.
Where the event, all you're getting is like, this is, if you come work with me, this is what you'll learn, da 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 da. This event, they were like, we learned so much that literally, if you don't ever work with me, your life will be transformed. And then if you decide to work with me, we just take it up a level. So it's October 17th to 19th. It is happening in Atlanta, Georgia. And you can visit millionsretreat.ca to get tickets. It is currently at an early bird price. The price will change, okay? Come a couple months from now. I think it's about a month from now. Yesterday's price will not be tomorrow's price. So if you're going to come out, go to the website, millionsretreat.ca. You can get tickets. But if you're saying like, Toyin, I want to change my life and I'm not trying to wait till October. This is way too far from October. How can I get your help right now? You want to go to moneymindsetShift.ca/call. And if you go there, you'll be able to get my details. And I'll probably, I'm confident Ida will have the link in the podcast place, so y'all are going to be able to get that.
Yeah, all the links you heard about are going to be in the show notes here. If you're watching this on YouTube, check the description. If this is on the audio, please check the show notes. And oh my God, you got to learn from Toyin. Toyin, this has been an absolute honor. Thank you so much for your time. And for those who are here, please share your biggest takeaway from this episode in the bottom. And do reach out to Toyin if you need help with any of the things that she's talked about. It's been an absolute honor, Toyin.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been an honor to be with you, Ida. You have incredible questions. This was beautiful. Thank you.
For more insightful conversations with entrepreneurs, check out this video right here. I think you'll love it. Continue to enjoy, and I'll see you there.